Hey, we're live. Looks like it's working. Thank you so much for joining me. A loyal gang. I'm thinking of Stephen today, actually, who is always here. And I know he's got an appointment at this moment, so I hope it's going well for him. So if you're looking in retrospect, Stephen, then welcome. It's fantastic to have you all here. I'm really excited about sharing today's fold. So, I've been setting myself a bit of a challenge recently. Hello, Ronnie. Thank you for joining us. I set myself a challenge of trying to be more inventive myself. It's quite easy to feel that origami is so clever that somehow you can't do that. I think we're all guilty of feeling that way. And so, strangely, I've been taking heart from the virus itself, how actually evolution. Hello, Eric. Lovely to have you here. Is all about just generating new folds and just seeing what works. So you don't have to have a plan. Things can just happen. And I found that really inspiring and has helped unlock my creativity. So I've been playing with lots of things, and this is something I'm going to be sharing. Hello, Penny. I'm calling it Lotus Bud because it's just somehow has the feeling of a nice little closed bud, and as it gets bigger, the inside it feels like a sort of pleasing, it feels like a lotusy type shape. I was very lucky when I was about 8. I had almost a year in India, and mostly, hello Judy. Oh, lovely to have you here. And mostly we stayed on a lake, Dal Lake in Srinagar. It's very beautiful, the foothills of the Himalayas, and sadly in Era there's lots of conflict. And I know at the moment not doing well with the pandemic, but it's such a beautiful place. A lake with lots of carved beautiful boats and like hanging kind of decorations, but lots of lilies and lotuses. So it brings back memories of that, which is really lovely. And Judy, this morning, this popped through the letterbox. What a beautiful drawing! Thinking of Larry, thinking of you, Judy, and everybody, how much we miss him. What beautiful picture. So lovely. So it's such a lovely surprise. It's a really unusual cover, isn't it? I think that's been one of your best covers. I love this feeling of the paper coming to life, flying off. It's beautiful. Really nice. So thinking of you, Judy, it's so lovely that you've appeared today as well. So I'm going to be sharing with you a little lotus, but I've just been experimenting lots. This is something else I made the other night. I don't know whether people have made things like this. Oh, did he? Oh, that's fantastic, Judy. Well, it's really beautiful. Hmm. It's it does feel really Japanese too, doesn't it? I mean, obviously the imagery as well, but it's got a really beautiful design. It has got a freshness, a kind of a freshness to it, which I always think of kind of Japanese design, and origami is that freshness to it. I don't know how to explain it in any other way, but it's beautiful. Oh, that's really special. Thank you for sharing that. So, yes, so we'll be making a lotus bud. So this is one of 8. This is made of just 3. If you've made it all the complete circle with me, it's basically the same unit, and I've just experimented in many ways with something very simple. So it may be that others have found this. It's just kind of there for the finding, really. So it depends how many you make. So 2 would be flat. So it's a very simple modular. 3, and I just love the inside. Isn't that cool? Oh, see it fairly close up there. And 5, it's always a nice symmetry. That's right, Eric. You thought the bells, and actually, I thought of you, and I run every couple of days through Christchurch Meadow, and it's the bells that are beautiful. And oh, I like the inside of that too. It shows up quite nicely. So now I think of you, Eric. It's the bells in Oxford. And then 8, and that's if you are using different colours and beautiful papers. British Origami Society shop colour tree. I really recommend, all chosen by people who love origami. And this is 10, which is really opening up. And so it's a little bit, it's not, these are not strong things, but you know what, I really love that you have to be very gentle with them, treat them with care. And so there we go. Oh, as the bells of the church cross you. Oh, don't worry. You haven't lost the plot. Well, we're all a little bit like that these times of Israel. This is something else, as I said, I've been playing with. I don't know if other people have made this. It's quite simple. I was hoping I could do something similar with a pentagon, but it just doesn't work. So it's so interesting. It's not about necessarily what you want to do, but it's what works in terms of maths. But I quite like how it's got a glow to it. So it's thinner at the back. So it's like a little glowing flower. Anyway, I might show that another time. I don't know if that's of interest. Yeah, it's quite pretty at the back too. It's quite simple. I'm going to try next with the equilateral triangle. But yeah, taking inspiration from just trying things, not knowing what's going to happen. It's my new hobby is just seeing what I can find. They're definitely not as strong as the masters in origami, because I have to say, when I put things in my box, so quite a few of my things are fragmented. They possibly need a little touch of Pritt stick to keep them together, but they definitely are balancing acts. But in some ways, that's quite nice. But the lotus bud, sorry, just to say, back to the lotus bud, as this actually has been very much for me inspired by just looking at buds on trees and just the hope it's given me, and a feeling of nature, just these little closed layers, and the feeling of not knowing what's going to be inside there, but that it's going to be beautiful, has been special. So I wanted to create a piece of origami that has that natural feel to it. And I don't remember really seeing anything like that. So it's just me playing around. And actually from the bud, which we'll do this week, tracing paper, that's true, then you can build it up. So I'm calling these cactus flowers because it does look quite like them. My botanical father was able to identify. So the bud that we do today, we'll build on next week. And it depends what symmetry your initial bud is as to what the final flower would look like. So the one you just saw was 5, and this one's 3. So lots of potential. So we'll build further next week. Right, we should get started. I've chatted more than usual. Sorry. Okay. As usual, I show from A4 paper. These films are dedicated to my colleagues and patients at UCH, and I'm figuring that most people don't have origami paper, so I just show from normal paper. So hello Elizabeth, welcome to. So I'm going to fold this in half. I'm going to make 2 squares, which is really the size of the origami paper that you tend to get, 15 centimetres. Oh, thank you, Eric. Good strong fold. And so I'll be able to make 2 squares, and then each of these squares I'm going to split up into 4. So I've got a choice of 8, and then you can see what you want to make. Hello, Wendy. Welcome. Oh, we're thinking of Stephen today as well, but I'm sure he's fine. Corner, he let us know that he's got an appointment because Eric last time, because you're such a loyal participant as well. When you weren't here, we're all like, what's happened to Eric? I hope Eric's okay. It really is a little community of this, isn't it? It's really nice. And we'll get rid of the rectangle. And you can always shout out if you need me to explain anything. All I'm doing is making a square. That's it. And I think all of you have done this with me enough that you know what you're doing. I know many of you are origamists. So thank you for joining. I hope it gives a nice little origami moment in the week. Can't have too many origami moments, can we? So a square, I'm just going to divide it into 4. And I'll do the same with my other piece of paper. And then we can get playing with what to make. It is fairly simple. Oh, that's it. Yeah, I have to say, putting my creations in a box, I realised that the power of folding from just one piece of paper, that it can't fall apart. Whereas modular things, unless they really lock together very well, then they always have that danger of falling apart. I tend to put things out around and then they're fine, but when stored away, there is that chance. Oh, honey, welcome. Yay. Would not be the same without you as well. Are you in any palaces today? Last week was rather special, where we heard from you. The pictures, that was amazing to see on Facebook. So yeah, just making a square, cutting into 4. I'm going to do the same with the other one. And what I've really enjoyed with this is it's a very simple unit. For me, inspired by traditional duck, super simple. And I've just found that it's been amazing how many things I found with it. Mira. Oh yeah, no, you're great. All we're doing so far is making a square. I'm making 2 squares and then I'm chopping those up into 4. I'm just doing this by folding. So I've taken an A4 piece of paper, folded it in half, and from each of those halves making a square, and each of these squares I'm then dividing into 4. Brent Alberto, thank you for joining us too. Fantastic. Yeah. I think for some reason now, I don't know whether for you, but before the chats that we'd had, the live chat, before for me was next to the video when it's recorded, but now it seems to be missing. I don't know whether it's a safeguarding thing. Who knows? So you may not see that message, but yeah. But just to say, Stephen, that we're thinking of you. There we go. And holding that in half. Wow, Eric, you're being very careful putting your British Origami Society magazine in quarantine. Oh, good for you. Oh yes, of course it is Happy Nurses International Day. Yeah, yes. Yeah, Stephen's got an appointment, I think some kind of hospital appointment, but one that he's, wanted for a while. So all good. So he's well and he let us know, because otherwise we just chat endlessly about where somebody is, don't we? Wondering. Anyway, that's nice. That's what a community does. They care for each other. So we are going to make this little lotus bud, and all we've been doing so far is making little identical pieces of paper. So here I happen to have all sorts of lovely different colours, and I'm going to show you how to make the unit. It's basically the same as you've experienced with the complete circle, but it becomes 3D. I think I've been fascinated by the inside. It's almost like raw, like the ends of leaves or buds, and I'm sort of bringing it into 3D. Yeah. That's it. Oh wow, that's great, Eric. So you're saying that there's a statue for NHS medical heroes, indeed. Oh, I didn't know about that. So the unit's super simple. Just fold it in half to make a diagonal. Just folding in half. We'll do this many times. Yeah, how many squares? You know what? Depends what size bud you want to make. So the simplest bud, to be honest, this is the strongest. It's just 3. Just made of 3 units. 5 is rather nice. I rather like the inside. So I thought I'd show you with 8, and we can go through the different shapes. It depends how many you build as to what you like. It's a very tight bud, very strong. 3, rather nice. This is 5, so I guess obviously we could do 5 and a 3. If you increase the number of units to 8, it's a rather lovely thing. Look at that, nice inside. Or you can start to sort of lock the inside in a different way. This is just me playing around. It's just enjoying paper in natural form. And honestly, I have no idea what's going to happen, but I just let stuff happen. And I'm really enjoying that. And then if you make 10 little units, you could form something like that, which is almost splitting itself apart, but it's rather lovely. And I felt inspired by lotuses. So that's 10. So I thought we'd make maybe just 8 little units, and then we can have a little mixture. I suppose maybe we'll end up with a 5 and a 3 one, but you could do it as a whole 8. Does that make sense? So it's maybe a little bit of a different approach. I'm encouraging you to construct and experiment. So in half like that, and we're going to take the outside and bring it to the middle. And we're going to do that on both sides. So I said this is super simple, which is what I've rather loved. It's been rather interesting playing with very simple folds, finding that somehow there's a lot more I can do with, well, that I found I can do with them. There we go. Westminster. Oh, that's right. So should look like this. Great. Now turn it to the smooth back, and all we're going to do is fold it from the top to the middle. So folding it in half, like so. There we go. So it should look like this. I'm trying to read at the same time as talk. I'm really bad at multitasking. Still, not bad, I suppose. I've been able to follow the chat, to keep an eye on the chat zone, to run the technicalities myself. It is kind of amazing what we've learned over this time, isn't it? So it should look like this. And now the only next move which I do to help make it 3D is taking this flap and bending it back. Now, for some reason, I really like leaving a little bit sticking out. I don't know why I like this, but I just like the shape I think that it produces. Can you see I've deliberately left it a little bit over down towards the point, and I'm going to do that as well on this side. So the flap, folding it back, and this little bud, for those of you who joined a little bit later on, you'll see next week is the basis to be able to build cactus flowers that I've been finding and enjoying. So, this is from the 3 Symmetry bud. So there's a lot of potential in it, I think. It just felt like something I hadn't seen and I wanted to make. So it should look like this, and then bending it back. That is your unit. That's it. I just love these little raw edges that you get at the top. Okay. Yes, we will practice over and over again, Alberto, because we might as well make 8 of these little units and then we can play. So for each square, folding it in half along that diagonal line, opening up side to the middle. Also, this video is recorded. I've also recorded a film already, how to make the lotus blood. So you find that you still need more reminders. I'm afraid there aren't diagrams yet for any of these things. I just find diagrams hard, but this is quite simple, to be fair. I've made notes of myself on this one. Very simple. Bottom, folding up to the middle, like so. Super simple. Definitely hard to do in a camera. So I'm going to see what I'm actually doing now. Definitely not lined up straight. We do need a slightly perfectionist angle, don't you, doing origami? The little details matter, but there's something quite satisfying about that. So it should look something like that. Turn it to the back. Oh, that's a good idea. Very good idea, Mandy. Hopefully, you'll find this hopefully quite a simple one. Top to bottom in half. I don't think it really gets simpler, to be honest. And then these flaps, folding it back. But it's very much, for me, inspired by nature. Just really appreciating buds, the hope it gives, and the feeling of spring and new life. For some reason I like to leave that at a slight little angle out there. And the same thing, I suppose I should experiment with what difference it makes, but I've got a feeling it does make a bit of difference actually. Let's try and make it feel a bit kind of organic. And then folding it back. That's it. Right, we made 2. Just that even these things are lovely, aren't they? You can see that they're either petals or flowers as you wish. Keep going, folding it in half. That's it. It's all making sense. Where are you? We're in. I was talking lots at the start, so middle line, and then again the top to the middle. Go, and then the bottom, that middle line. I find it's almost one of those things you can just zone out, which I think is what it is, very meditative, isn't it? Origami, particularly with these sort of repetitive single units, I just find really lovely. Yeah, it's enough to keep you amused still, isn't it? Just trying to get that right. Turning to the back, and then the top to the bottom. Right. Fiddly. Yes, it is fiddly. That's what keeps you present, isn't it? Very mindful, so you just have to focus on it. I suppose it depends how big your pieces of paper are. Could do a giant one, I guess. This would be quite fun for doing a giant one. Folding it back. That's it. Right, I've done 3. Well, what do you think? Shall we try building it, or shall we keep folding for a little bit? Shall we keep folding whilst we're in the flow? Folding in half. I find it tends to be most efficient this way. That's it. Welcome everyone joining. I can see lots of people who've joined. Fantastic. It's a funny old time, isn't it? Because things are opening up, but well, it depends obviously where you are in the world. Here in the UK, thankfully things have been a lot better. Vaccine rollout, we've been extremely thankful for. Turning it to the back, so things are opening up, but at the same time, top and bottom, you know, would any of us go back to how things were either? It's a really strange one. Personally, I can't imagine being in a group with other people, not yet. So I think our new way of working will be this mixture of still lots online and some things in person, but I don't know. There's no sort of just going back to normal, is there? So again, these flaps, folding it back, moving a little front towards the bottom. I tend to, but honestly, it's not right or wrong. I can say that. That's it. Nice little shape. So next week we'll build on our buds and we'll make a cactus flowers. Yeah. It's funny. I mean, somewhere like a pub before would have been relaxing because it's really nice to be with lots of people. I'm not sure it is now. It's hard to feel completely. Oh, you're going to make it big. Hard to feel that would be relaxing now. I mean, I guess it is if we know it's completely safe, but until we do, we're not quite there yet. Certainly not in the world at all. So I don't know. I think we all just have to be kind on ourselves. We've been going through really a time of trauma. I mean, we all love being with other people. What a challenge it's been, and yet how do we handle it? I think we're all have to assume it's going to take us a long time to get our heads and emotions around it all. That back, and I think doing things personally, I always think doing things just helps, doesn't it? This is very active process. Time when you just focus on something small that you can do that's going to bring pleasure and some beauty, something you have control over, something you can master. It's got to be a good thing. And we'll make others smile, make yourself smile primarily. It's giving yourself some you time. That's it. I'm keeping up the folding. Depends how big a bud you want to make. But I will then show you how to make a bud of 3 and then a bud of 5. Who knows? Then I might even put them all together and make it into an 8. Again, opening up the sides of the middle. You're probably going to be faster than me. I'm going to put my paper down. It's definitely faster when I go downwards. Tip onto the centre, turn to the back. I agree. It's calming, isn't it? A little bit of control. Good tips from Eric. Ruler helps the last 2 foldovers if people have arthritic fingers. I love it doesn't put you off. You find ways around things. That's always the way to go, Eric. It's finding we're always creative in how we can get around things. It's a positive attitude, not letting it stop you doing things, but finding just a new way of adapting. Very good attitude. Folding in half, opening it up, into the middle line. I'm almost there. I don't know about you, but I just love the feel of these little things. Turning it to the back, folding it up. And you'll see with the flowers next week, there are many things you could do with this. Again, so I'd love to see what you end up making in terms of flowers from next week. building on the buds. But the buds are fun because it depends how many little petals or leaves that you put in, so different symmetries and different forms emerge. I find rather interesting. This is the kind of end to me which feels like science. I guess obviously it's engineering, it's physics, it's maths, but in a very lively way, in a creative way that you're being taught by the paper itself. I haven't thought out how it's going to work, but I just sort of had a feeling for what I wanted to do, and then let's see what's possible. I'm just looking at nature. Pine, looks like pine, but also just buds generally. Aren't they lovely? It's that feeling of potential. So, right, I'm almost there. And then let's get building. Hopefully you've got a nice little pile of leaves or petals. Obviously you can colour all these things. I always think of honey at that point. You can be painting or colouring them. And that would be great too. Right. Are you ready to get assembling? Okay. Unit 1, Unit 2. So all it is sliding. Oh, suddenly wondering what I'm doing. Do I stretch out? Oh, I think actually I've forgotten how to do it. I'm a lot less practiced on things that I've done myself. I think what I've done is I pulled out that little side bit and I'm going to pop it in to the middle of the next one. Can you see? So I'm going to slot that in to the middle. Like so, yeah. And I think that I enjoy leaving that little bit because it gives a little overlap there, which I rather like. So hopefully you've got something like that. So it's kind of like a nice little overlap. I'll show you with 3 first. So with 3 units, again, these things only really work when they're in your hands, don't they? But where you want to put one into the other, so I just remembered, undo the flap and you're going to push it into the middle of the next one. And it sort of slots together. And then if it's a 3, this is really kind of tight, keeping it all together. And actually probably the most secure out of the lot is bringing this round and looking. This one looks like it's just completely a complete full one. So the previous petal needs to fold into the, oh, it sounds really complicated, doesn't it? But there's a little flap. Will always go into the middle, smooth middle of one. Right. Sorry me, I have to concentrate. But the principle, hopefully, is quite simple. Wherever there's a smooth side, then you tuck the flap for the next one in. But this is the point I absolutely have to concentrate. You're right, honey, it is really. And I've just pushed it in. And you can go along those edges a little bit. But inside, that's how it's gone, which is rather nice. What's going on in there? But that's quite a tight little bud. Did you get the feel of what I was doing? I might add to this. So actually, I mean, it really is quite a nice solid little thing. 3 is the best, actually. 3 often is the basis, isn't it, for the building? I might undo this so I can show you how I can continue. So I've undone one side. So, oh good, excellent. Glad it's working for you, Eric. So wherever you've got a side which is complete, then next one, undo that little flap and you can pop it in. Slide it in. And then, so you could close up and it'd be a 4, which would be obviously a kind of a pyramid. I think I'm going to go up to 5. But you can see how it's just, you're just so sort of It is a little bit fiddly, it is very focused, and that's also why it's very relaxing. So again, I've got an open side there. So I'm going to take the next one, undo a flap, and pop it in. Concentration. That's it. Right, and so if this is a whole side, then flap from the other one will slot in. Let's see what it looks like with a 5. So you see, you can just sort of adapt really, depending on how you're feeling. Whether you want a 5, that's a nice little shape. Look at the lovely end of that. Yeah, so I've really enjoyed how I've been using this, just tearing to get my squares, and it gives, I think, a very natural kind of feel, which feels like it comes out quite well in this bud. So that's a 5. It has all stayed together. If you're finding it's a little bit soft on one side, you might give a bit of a stronger fold, sharpen it up, and that might help. Just curious what this one looks like inside. Oh. Interesting, isn't it? Very nice. Right, so it's getting wider. As it gets wider, it gets a little less secure, but interesting things are happening inside. I might bring this up to make it into an 8, but as I said, I think the 3 is the strongest of the lot, really. The 5 is quite good for making a flower, actually, probably if anything the best. So this had a bud, just of those lovely orangey red ones inside, and then I built further petals around the outside, which I'll show you next week. So my 5, let's see if I can build it up into a 8. So I could just undo a side, and again, if there's a complete side, next one with a flap, tuck it in. How's it going, folks? You've all gone very quiet, so that's probably a very good sign that you're building. I can imagine you're one of those things we can imagine tongue coming out. Yeah, you could. That's good. Well, actually, it starts securing in a different way, Vera. I'll just show you. I'll try to get up to the 8. Definitely feels a bit more. It's just fell off. Yeah, it's definitely, as you saw. Yeah, when they're all joined, but there's also an extra little tucking in thing which starts to happen. Let me see if we can get there. Actually, let's see. Definitely interesting doing this live. I'm going to see if I can get up to 8 and see if we can tuck it in. I've forgotten as to whether I change the shape on the inside as I go along or not. Honestly, these are just kind of late night doodlings of paper, really. That's a good way to be creative. Definitely need to concentrate. So let's see if we can do. So it feels, this is the 8, which is quite a nice shape. It definitely feels a little bit wobbly. Right. So inside, this is rather beautiful, actually, but you can make it a little bit more secure because I think that one can slot into the next. So these little squares, I think you can gently, she says, gently lift up one and tuck the other in. Ah! Oh my goodness. Blame the design. Or maybe I should have done it as I went along. It's completely fragmenting. Excellent. Oh, right. Pull this apart. So if you're trying to do the 8, what I was trying to show is I've actually pulled it apart, but it's fine because you can build it up. Hello, can say that's nice. Is each flap you can tuck underneath the next square. So this is what's more stable when it gets bigger. Can you see? And so actually it looks like you need to do this as you go along. So each little flap on the inside you can tuck into the next square. Yes, good to see I'm struggling. Thanks, Vera. I agree. Yep, I do not believe in being super slick. But can you see it's actually locked it together when it's wider? So I'm going to attempt then to continue. I'm going to add another one, and then each time I add another one, I can then tuck in the inside underneath the square. So that seems to be helping. Hello, Kutsai, you don't need to send the message quite so much, but thank you anyway. It's much appreciated. Don't know whether there's some kind of glitch going on there, but thank you. Right, again, I've tucked in another and then opening it up. Yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? It really changes it, and then it keeps it wide and it will stay. Hence me wanting to show you the different side. It's Joe. Hello, Joe. Lovely to have you here. Thank you, Joe. And then again, each side on the inside. So yeah, I've been offering various workshops, which have been great for different communities. But actually, our funding's just run out from the lottery. So we'll see if we can get some more. But very glad to know it's just fallen in half again. Yes, I hear you, Kunsai. I hear you loud and strong. Thank you. It's definitely tricky. That's what makes it so good for concentration, isn't it? As I said, my pieces are a little bit balancing it. But I love the tension almost that it holds you in. And then the relief when or if, thank you, Alberto, it comes together. Oh, making me feel better about it collapsing live on streaming. Right, one more. I think I'm holding it in this position so it stays together with gravity. That's it. Hey. It's definitely quite a process, isn't it? As it gets wider, it's less stable. The 3 was the most stable. Always having to like hold my breath to do this because it's so delicate. Oh dear. It's part of the joy. That's it. And that final baby. Ah. Oh, it's just falling apart, but never mind. Maybe this one wants to be a 10. It feels like it's a little bit wider, so actually it's one like this that I've done with 10. Yeah. Thank you, Kyle Joe. I hear you. Yeah. But you'll probably find the 3 or the 5 is the thing that we'll use for building a flower next time. I think this is not very stable, but it's rather lovely, isn't it? Oh, glad you've enjoyed it. One of my little findings. So I've been trying to find more things. That way I feel like it's just easy to know. I can share them with you as I wish because I've found them. Hey, go together! Oh, sticking. That's fair enough. But they will tuck in once it gets big. It's a good test of your complete focus. Whereas 3, isn't it tight? Isn't it amazing? It's from the same thing. And it's just how many things you do. Oh, that's fair enough. Yeah, 6 is a good number too. 6 sunflowers work. Tuck-in is working for me now. Excellent. Isn't it satisfying? Obviously, I could never have planned this. I would not know how these things would work. But it's such a joy, isn't it, when it gets going? Oh, Joe, for you it's 7. 77, that would be very big. Yeah, I was wondering if this could then go to full circle, but it just starts to fall apart. In a way, this is the full circle. This is the complete circle I made before. Isn't it lovely, the end of it? Yay! So, dedicated to nature, thinking of trees and how these little rough edges reveal some of the little plant fibres in there. Feelings of buds. And so I hope something there has worked for you. There's certainly lots to play with. Oh, did it all fall apart, Lani? Joe, what are you doing? You're repeating quite a lot. But oh, it's added lots of energy. But yes, it has worked, hasn't it? It has got a lotusy feel. Oh. No, exactly. Eric's an amazing man. Anyway, yeah, maybe another time I can share with you. I think I'm gonna call it Little Glowy Flower because it's kind of got a little glow inside it where the paper's thinner at the back. 5 for you. Yeah, good idea. Oh, yes, it does. It's definitely delicate though. You, you may resort. You can see how something like this, put in a box, it's not going to stay together, is it? You may need to resort to glue, but hopefully it's just pleasing. Yeah. Could no, Joe, that's not acceptable. Removing. Thank you. Anyway, look after yourselves, everybody, and I hope you've enjoyed this, and very much looking forward to yes. Joe, can you stop? I'm not happy with you adding too much like this. Just a gentle, gentle space. Thank you. So look after yourselves, everyone, and have a good week. Take care. Keep safe. Look after yourselves and keep being nice. Keep being kind. And yeah, happy bud making. I hope it's brought you joy and lifts your mood. And next week we'll build up a lovely flower as well. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.